saved ourselves and them their heritage. So it's real important, man. That's why, hey, we don't take this thing light, man. This is a serious thing we doing up here. We trying to make it out of this destruction, this nuclear destruction. We trying to be protected when martial law comes. We want the Lord to look after us, man, and have mercy on us when famine comes and pestilence comes.
Yeah, got one. 2 Peter's 1:13. Yet I think it meet as long as I am in this tabernacle to stir up you by putting you in remembrance.
I'm putting you in remembrance. Because the Lord said there's no remembrance of former things, man. And there will be no remembrance of things to come. But that's why in this day He put it out, He's stirring up our minds to remember who we were back in the ancient days. You know?
This Ezekiel 33:9. Nevertheless, if thou warn the wicked, which is of our people, not Esau, okay, of his ways to turn from it, if he do not turn from his ways, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. So that's the same way. That's the same way. While we are here teaching through the Spirit, and if people don't want to take heed to what we're saying, according to the doctrine of Yahweh Shema Shai, then they're going to die in their iniquity. And through the power of Yahweh Shema Shai, while we telling them to preserve us and keep us in the faith, so we won't slip from the faith until we get delivered up out of here. That's part of being saved from that destruction, because He's keeping us from the ways of the world and preserving us in this truth, so we can be delivered.
2/3, man. These 2/3, they just ain't gonna get it. We always say they stiff-necked and they hard-headed. This is only for the elect, man. 2/3 just ain't gonna get it. And a big thing, like we just going over, you worshiping these idols and these gods right here, man. Y'all like worshiping these idols and these gods. Like we ride around town, like here in the last week, since we come out on the highways and the byways last week, I've been seeing a lot of cars with these fraternity signs on them. I mean, like every other car, somebody's in some kind of sorority or fraternity, right? And you call yourself what? Greeks. That's what you call yourself. But man, the Lord is gonna destroy y'all in them fraternities and them sororities, man. We bring out a few scriptures on that, man. Let's get Jeremiah 17:4.
Jeremiah 17:4.
I've been seeing them heavy all week. You see them jump out the car and do their little handshakes and hollering all out the car at each other. You know? I mean, that's been all week, man. Read that, bro.
Jeremiah 17:4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage. Thy heritage.
Thou thyself should discontinue from your heritage, your inheritance. You was discontinued by what? You was brought over here in cargo slave ships and made to be bondmen and bondwomen in America until the what? The Greeks, Edomites, so-called white men in America.
And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy inheritance that I give thee, and I cause thee to serve thy enemy in the land which thou knowest not.
What's that land that you know is not? That land you know is not is America, man. Spain. You didn't know Spain either. You didn't know Portugal. You got brought over here in the transatlantic slave trade, the buck of the slaves in 1620. You was brought over here on cargo slave ships, man. That's how they had you in them ships. Look how they had you jammed up in them ships, man. Butt to butt. All that. You know? Look at there. Slaves on the ships dancing for the master. That's how they had you jammed up in them cargo slave ships, man. Deuteronomy 28 and 16. Read that. You was brought over here into slavery. And that's punishment that the Lord put on the children of Israel for disobeying the law, statutes, and commandments. You want to go whoring to other gods and be whorish and be a harlot? Which that word harlot, this Hebrew word zanah, meaning to file in, to come into. Going to whore. Yeah.
Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
It says the Lord, Yahweh, shall bring you into Egypt again with ships. When you look at Egypt up, when you look at Deuteronomy, the 5th chapter, when you look at Exodus 20th chapter, Egypt means bondage. So he's saying the Lord gonna bring you into bondage again with ships. Now when you look at the old Egypt, when you look at, I got a map right here. If you look at this map, if you look at it, well, you got Egypt right there. Now, if you look at it real close, you didn't, right here, Egypt is right here. We came out of the land of Canaan, which was Jerusalem. We walked into the land of Egypt, and we left walking, so we didn't catch no ship, because it was land connected. So when the Lord says he's going to bring you to Egypt again with ships, he was going to bring you into bondage again with ships. And that bondage was America. When we left on cargo slave ships, came down through the narrow passage of the Euphrates into the Persian Gulf. We came around the bottom parts of Africa, and we caught them currents in the rough parts of the Atlantic Ocean, which drifted us over to South America. Yeah, the northern kingdom. Yeah. And the southern kingdom, we migrated up into here, and they came and got us in Spain and Portugal, the southern kingdom, and they took us to America. And they brought some of the northern kingdom Gadites back over to Spain and Portugal.
You had us in the northern part of Africa. You had us on the east coast. I mean the east side of Africa too, and on the west side.
East Africa, West Africa, North Africa.
Yeah, because you had some of us brought over here on cargo slave ships, and then you had some of us being sold in Zanzibar on when you read the slavery of the Arab slave trade. When you read that book, it tell you that some of us was sold on the east coast of Africa in Zanzibar. So you had some of us being sold, on that side too. And then you had the Dutch, the French, I think it was the Dutch, the British, I want to say French, who was coming down into Africa. That's loosely translated, that was coming down and trade with them Africans, because them Africans was the ones, them Hamites over there was the ones that was rounding us up and was bringing them to them so-called Jews, them rats, because they the ones that control they the ones that control that transatlantic trade slave. They funded all of it, and it started with Christopher Columbus, which is known Christopher Cologne, and Queen Isabella and Ferdinand did not fund transatlantic slave trade, and they didn't even fund Columbus coming over. It was a rat, one of them so-called Jews. Okay. Damn Negroes is into these fraternities. That's history, man. You don't even know it. But you join yourself unto those fraternities and you call yourself Greeks and shit. Give me go ahead, keep reading that. Read that.
Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way thereof I speak unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Our homeland Jerusalem. We said we would not see it no more again. And we haven't saw it no more again. Read. Yep, as a nation of people. The water.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen.
Bondmen meaning slave men. Go ahead.
And bondwomen.
Slave women. Read.
And no man shall buy you.
Meaning no man gonna save you. Ain't none of your leaders today save you. But they telling you join a fraternity and shit. A fraternity of brothers and sisters. You still a damn slave and shit. You know? You still a damn slave, man. You joining yourself when you join yourself unto the fraternities, you basically selling your soul to the Greeks.
And then you got to be selected, and then you got to pay.
You know? Go ahead, read Joel.
This Joel chapter 3. I'm gonna jump around. This Joel chapter 3, verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and had given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink.
Sold a boy for a harlot. We watched that movie called Uncle Tom's. It's called Uncle Tom's. Is it
Uncle Tom Cabin?
Uncle Tom Cabin? They showed in there how the little midget got the little boys all suited up and washed up and put makeup on them and makeup for Esau and them to go in there and pop them little boys, man. They show you in that movie, but it was going on also at the beginning of the slave trade, because it said for wine, little boys for harlots. This is a sick ass fucking devil, man. And he's still doing that shit to today, man. Them damn Roman Catholics, man.
Yeah, every wickedness that America is doing, it's like every wickedness that America doing is coming out all on the web. It's coming out all on the so-called mainstream media, that propaganda media, and they showing you how this so-called white man is a pedophile. And then they got shows even on Dateline where they catch them calling little kids, and they'll be lure them to a house and they raping little kids. You see? So it's known throughout history, throughout the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, all the way up to the extension of the Roman Empire, which is America, that this so-called white man is a homosexual, is a flaming faggot, and he will rape men and little boys. You see?
Nakedness is being uncovered.
Yeah, your shame.
Yup. Isaiah 47 chapter, man.
Finish this off in Joel. In Joel chapter 3, verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, which is the nation of Israel, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine. And then when you go into the history, Elder Gabar didn't sit down on that. The wine that they was getting was not even pure wine. It wasn't even pure wine. It was watered down. You know, that them Africans was getting, them Hamites. It says that they might drink, because they was partying, man. They was happy to see the nation of Israel fall because you had them Africans, and you had them Arabs in that gathering us up, and then you had the Arab building the ship and selling us to the so-called white man. Because like I was saying in that the Arab slave trade, in that book, they were selling us on the east coast of Africa. And then you had them Hamites gathering us up too and selling us. Alright? It says, will ye render me a recompense? Because they were mad at the Most High because we were the chosen people. And when you go into the history, and when we was ruling them 1,000 years, we was controlling all the commerce, man. We were controlling all the commerce. When you go into the Byzantine Empire, when you go into the so-called Moor Empire, when you go into the Ostrogoths, the Vandals, the Diocletians, Theodorus, Justinian, with Justinian and Theodorus were part of the Byzantine Empire. When you go into their history, man, we was controlling the commerce. We was controlling it all.
Right.
You see? And they was mad at us. And at that time, during before we fell in 1453, they tried to besiege the Byzantine Empire between 28 times and 23 times. They tried to bring us down, but it didn't work. Within that 1,000-year reign, they tried to besiege it between 28 and 23 times. And one time, them Arabs tried to besiege it, and Jake come out in them ships in the Byzantine Empire. Like I was telling this brother, they had like a flamethrower mounted on the boat, or one of them small boats. When you go into that book, 1453, they had one of them flamethrowers mounted on the tip of the boat. And when them Arabs tried to come up in there, because they couldn't pass the gate, but Jake come out of that gate, out of that wall that Theodorus built, out of that wall that he built, which he was a Jake, they come out of there and burnt them Arab ship up, and they didn't even know what kind of war weapon that was that Jake came up with. And that was during the 5 and 600 and 700 AD up in there. And they still don't know to this day. They try to say it's oil, but they speculate what Jake used. And Jake came up with that invention. They had it mounted on top of the ship. And they were basically spraying fire out of the front of the ship and burning them Arabs up. And then one time them Arabs tried to besiege us. The weather destroyed them because they tried to set up camp outside the wall. The weather destroyed them, and they was eating camels. They was eating camel meat, horses, and cannibalism.
Each other.
You see? So that's just part of the history on why they was mad at us. You see? Because what we were doing to them. And then them Ottoman Turks, which was Edomites, which was them rats over there, they converted to Islam around 1000 AD, around 1000 and 900 AD, and came against them, which was the Ottoman Turk, which was them rats over there. So they was all mad at us. But I'm going to finish this off and read into it. This Joel chapter 3, verse 4. Yea, what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head. So the Most High gonna pay you back for how you sold us in slavery and was mad at us for being the chosen people. You see? This this is verse 6 in Joel. In Joel chapter 3, verse 6. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might move them far from their
talking about the fraternities. They call themselves Greeks. That's what they call themselves. They be like, what's up, Greek? Oh, man, that's the most crazy madness I done heard, man. They actually call themselves Greeks. But they call, I'm finna go online. When you hear them say, I'm finna go online, they finna go sell their soul to the idols, man. They gonna come out and talk about they Greeks. We Greeks. Shit wild, man. Fucking niggas, man.
Yeah, and then when you look that word up, in that, them Grecians, they go back to Javon, which was a Japhite, but Alexander them took on their name, the Greeks. So therefore, they took on that name Greek. And that right there is not talking about the Japhites. Even though when you look it up, this is a spiritual thing. You got to know when you got to have that spiritual understanding and know. You know, by the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and know who that's talking about. And that's talking about the so-called white man.
Psalms 83. Salaki.
It says, verse 7. It says, behold, I will raise them out of the place whether ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. So that's what you see what's happening right now. You're seeing us being raised up. You see? As a great army in the spirit of the Most High and His Son. You're seeing us being raised up, and the recompense, the payback coming to you.
The Lord gonna give us fame in the land where we was put to shame. That's what He said in Zephaniah. He's gonna give us fame in the land we was put to shame. So payback is coming, man. When the race ride start, hey man, some brothers gonna get spiritual power. And when the missiles come, that's payback for you. Martial law, you gonna get tripped up, you know.
It's Romans chapter 9, verse 25. And as he saith also in Hosea, which is Hosea, I will call them my people, which were not my people. And her beloved, which was not beloved. And it shall come to pass that in that place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there, go ahead.
It's in America right now.
There shall they be called the children of the living power.
That's what we waking up to that fact right now. We the children of the living power. We Israelites, the elect of Israel, man. But you got, like I said, 2/3. They call themselves Greeks. They don't want to call themselves Israelites. They want to be Greeks and shit. They want to worship. They want to worship Minerva. And they want to worship the falcon. The god Anubis, the Anubis dog. Shit like that. The god of Mot and shit. Because all of the names I'm naming, they stand for them actual fraternity names, right? What you got?
Psalms 83 and 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consult against thy hidden ones.
That's the UN, right? NATO and them.
Yeah, and the hidden one.
Yep.
The hidden one is the elect amongst the nation of Israel.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Come, let us cut them off from being a nation, read.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
It says so that the name of Israel will be no more remembrance. And you Negroes that's going around claiming that you in a fraternity and you call yourself Greeks, you covering up your identity, man. You worshiping fucking Caesar Borgia. You worshiping Baphomet and shit, the devil and shit. You covering up your identity when you say you're a Greek. So you fall right into Esau and them playing. They playing to let us cut them off from being a nation. They never be called Israel no more. So you need to come out of that. know, if there's any elect in them fraternities, man, you need to know that you're an Israelite, you're not a Greek. You know, because Esau, you know, you call yourself a Greek. We even got our own people call themselves Egyptians. The Egyptian man and shit. Right? And Esau told you that shit, you was a damn African. But the funny ass shit, when you went to school, he didn't teach you no Hebrew in high school, or did you learn any dialects of any African language. So what the fuck is that shit, man? You know, part of my French and shit.
That's the way it is. Bringing it raw. That's the way it is, the brother bringing it raw. But just like when you go in the scripture, you had Israelites that was amongst them Greeks who were speaking Greek. You had Israelites amongst them Egyptians down there in Egypt. You had Israelites in the ancient times scattered everywhere. So Esau know how to bring out, because Esau have studied us as a nation of people. So he bring out them old ancient deities for you to worship, because he know you will cling to that when you don't got the truth. He know you searching for something. He know you searching for something. He know you searching. He know you missing something. So whatever he present to you as a demon, as a devil, this so-called white man, you gonna cling to it because he's in rulership. You see, not knowing that he's offering you death and offering you things that go against the Most High with them idols. Because when you in them so-called sororities, you basically get in things that you can't get in if you were not in it. You see, and the gift destroys the heart, so that messes up your judgment, man. And you thinking that's the way to go by being in those sororities and those fraternities. You see? But the way to go is the scriptures, man. The way to go is the Heavenly Father and His Son, man. King James Bible, man. 16:11.
Exodus 11:7. But against any of my children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know that how that the Lord does put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
The Lord does put a difference between Egyptians and Israelites. We got Esau, you take on the customs of the Egyptians, and then the Greeks took on the customs of the Egyptians. So when you out there in the fraternities, when you pledge it, and the Babylonians, so which are the Cushites, Ethiopians. So when you out there pledging, you taking on the same rituals and shit as the rituals and as the gods, man. That's what you're doing when you take the pledges, man. They be having you doing some defile ass shit too. You do that shit. Jump over to same book, go to chapter 15, verse 26.
Exodus 15:26, and said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and wilt do that which is right in His sight.
So if you do that's right within His sight, man, within his instructions, man, His blueprint, just do right. These scriptures, just do right, man. Read.
And wilt give ear to His commandments, and keep all His statutes, but will put none of these diseases upon thee.
Say what?
I will put none of these diseases upon thee.
Say we'll put none of these diseases upon thee. What we got out there now? You got heart disease,
Cancer,
kidney disease, cancer,
AIDS.
You got AIDS. You got having heart attacks. You got diabetes,
sugar.
Yeah, sugar. That was the diabetes.
The high blood pressure.
You got sickle cell and shit. High blood pressure.
Lupus.
All these are diseases, man. Scoliosis.
favoritism, yeah.
You know, even though Esau put stuff in the foods and make them things happen, but that's part of them curses, man. When you read in Deuteronomy 28,
And that stuff called eczemas, that stuff, that skin disease.
yeah.
Yeah, and see the most high.
Yeah, jump in there.
Hey, and see, give me Job 2 and 7. See, just like when we was going into the history about, see, when we came over on the slave trade, and we got punished for worshiping other gods, and we went astray from Yahweh Shem Shai. You know, them diseases, the Most High put them diseases on Esau, and Esau, the so-called white man, brought it to us, the Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, when you go into the history. Okay? And just like Satan, well, he finna read it, go ahead.
This is Job 2, verse 7. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord Yahweh.
So what this is the Most High. Go up to the story. What was going
Okay,
on?
this is I start up top. Hey, can't start up top. Job 2 and 1. It said, again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord Yahweh, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord.
So Satan was never kicked out of heaven. You see, they talking about the Lord, the spiritual demon Satan was never kicked out of heaven. Never kicked out of the heaven. You know, that's a false doctrine. Go ahead.
It says, verse 2, and the Lord Yahweh said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? And Satan answered to the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth and walking up and down in it. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job?
Now, this for the brothers in the know. This is a spiritual thing. Job is really talking about, Job is really a character, how can I say this, formatted after the nation of Israel. You see, Job is really a character, a representation of Israel. Okay? Alright.
It says, and there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth the Most High and escheweth evil. And still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause.
Yeah, and to narrow that down, that goes into the elect about that integrity. Okay? Alright.
And Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin, yeah, all that a man hath would he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face.
You had some Israelites do that. You see? And that's what Israel did. They went off as a nation of people. That's what they started doing. Worshiping other gods. You see? But I just wanted you to get an idea of what that's talking about up top. So how the Most High sick Satan on Job. So jump to verse 7.
Verse 7, so went Satan from the presence of the Lord Yahweh and smote Job with the sore boils from the sole of his feet unto his crown.
So what did Satan do? What did Satan do? Read that again.
It says that he went forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his feet unto his crown.
So that disease that Satan gave Job a disease, which is dis-ease, a discomfort. You see? So that's the same way the Most High let Esau do, because he is the physical part of Satan that walks the earth. He put them diseases on Esau, and Esau brought them to us. You see? So that's why I was saying what I was saying according to what the brother was reading. What you was reading that?
Exodus 15 and 26.
Yeah, so that's why I was saying that. You see, because those diseases, the Most High was gonna get us with them diseases. He put them on Esau. Esau brought them up. When you go into the history.
26, and said, if thou wilt let me read it over. And said, if thou wilt distinguish, hearken to my voice diligently, Salakia, and hearken to my voice of the Lord thy God, and wilt do that which is right in his sight, and wilt give an ear to his commandment, and keep all his statutes, and I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord that healeth thee.
So if you serve Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, right, diligently, and you hearken to his voice, he gonna bless your basket and your store. You know? He won't let no sickness come in your midst, man.
That's why we're gonna get out these bodies. But see, 2/3 gonna partake. 2/3 are gonna partake of them pestilence and them diseases. They're gonna be increased on the earth. Cause man, it's just like I was watching the documentary when they drop bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. After they did that, they in other parts of the land, they pushed out America pushed out infected insects. So that's the same. I'm looking at that documentary. I'm looking at what's going on around us today. I'm saying, man, this Edomite is doing the same thing.
Where's now?
He put infected insects all throughout the earth, and spreading chemtrails and GMOs and putting that all throughout the earth. In Israel, if the Most High don't save us out of the condition that we in and get us away from Israel, them diseases gonna increase on 2/3, but it's not gonna increase on us because the Most High gonna change us. You know, give us new bodies before he destroy America. You see? Because that's the only way you can get your spiritual power. You have new bodies. You know?
Leviticus 18:4. Ye shall do my judgment and keep thy obedience to walk therein. I am the Lord your God.
So the Lord telling you, man, you know, be careful, man, and do as the Lord commanded. Don't turn aside to the right hand, to the right side or the left. You know, don't let your heart be lifted up, become proudful, man, and turn away from these commandments. You better stay to these commandments the best of your ability. And pray the Lord, put the faith on you, man, and keep you stable, keep the spirit on you, keep you humble. That's part of it, man. Don't turn aside, man, from these commandments, man. That's to the brothers that's supposed to be coming in the truth. The elect is coming, and the brothers just came in. And remind us to the brothers who already been in for a while, man. Just stay strong, man.
Stay strong, man, because I'm telling you, man, hey, the Most High gonna try you. The Most High will try you, man. You see how much you love him, man. He'll take your family. He'll cause you to lose your job, cause your car to break down, cause where you won't have no money. But all you can do is pray to the Most High and his son, and cling and get closer to him. That's just part of the fiery